Guilty Gear Strive is a fighting game with interesting characters and interesting game mechanics. On this channel, I want to help as many people as possible improve at the game and enjoy the game. So I figure focusing on the system mechanics that will impact every player is a great way to start. And, in my opinion, there's no system mechanic more interesting than Roman cancels. While you're here, if you're interested in learning all about Guilty Gear Strive and other fighting games with me, consider subscribing to the channel, and check out my beginner's guide to Guilty Gear Strive. I think it's a great place to begin for anyone learning the game. I also stream most weekdays if you want to head over there and hang out or ask any questions. Without further ado, let's talk about Roman cancels. So, what is a Roman cancel? Well, as the name implies, it's a cancel. It stops whatever you're doing in the moment and lets you immediately do something else. You can input a Roman cancel by hitting any 3 buttons besides the dust button. For example, punch, kick, and slash will combine to make a Roman cancel. Keep in mind that you can only perform a Roman cancel by spending half of a full gauge of meter, so you won't always have this option available. But meter gain is so high in Strive that you will probably be able to use this at least once per round. It might not seem like much, but the ability to quickly stop whatever you are doing at any given time is a huge deal and opens up so many fun possibilities. I'm going to start with the absolute basics that will help you in 90% of your matches. And as we go on, we can get a bit more advanced and showcase a lot of the amazing things you can do with Roman cancels, and we can explain why those things work. There are 4 different types of Roman cancels, and they are all performed with the same exact input. The timing of when you perform the input is what determines what kind of Roman cancel you get. Blue means you are not doing anything, except maybe moving. If you aren't in the middle of attacking or blocking, you'll almost always get a blue Roman cancel. This might seem underwhelming, canceling nothing at all, but this is actually one of my favorites. We'll talk more about why later. Purple means that you were in the middle of performing an attack, whether it's right as the move starts up or at the end. If you Roman cancel during an attack, it will usually be purple. Purple RCs are a great way to save yourself if you notice that you made a mistake that could potentially be punished. Did someone guess correctly and jump out of your throw mix-up? Well, you can purple Roman cancel to quickly save yourself before they can hit you, and maybe even hit them instead. Red means that you Roman canceled right as your attack made contact with the opponent. Red Roman cancels are great because they pop the opponent upwards and give you plenty of time to land a combo extension. Even attacks that can't normally combo in any meaningful way can be red Roman canceled to give you some big damage. This includes throws and other mix-ups, so having meter available to Roman cancel can definitely make your character's options a lot more rewarding and a lot scarier. Yellow Roman cancels are unique. These happen if you try to Roman cancel when you are blocking the opponent. A shockwave is sent out and staggers the opponent. This functions similarly to guard cancels in other Arc System Works games and is an excellent option to save yourself if you are on the defensive. Just don't be too predictable with this because it can still be baited. In fact, if blocked, it is in counter hit recovery state, so the opponent will be able to get a huge punish on you. That said, baiting yellow Roman cancels can be quite difficult. Up until this point, I've kept things as simple as possible because I truly believe that the basics are super strong all by themselves. You can get a lot of mileage just out of what we've covered so far. Did you just make a mistake and think you're about to get punished? Purple Roman cancel and save yourself. Are you about to land a hit and want to easily extend into a full combo? Red Roman cancel. Are you blocking predictable pressure and want to escape? Yellow Roman cancel. These basics are strong enough to help you out a ton all on their own. But there's so much more here to talk about, and a variety of game-changing ideas can be implemented by using Roman cancels creatively. They're seriously so fun and cool that I can't wait to see what people continue to come up with over the next year. Let's begin by talking about some of the quirks of Roman cancels and some of the examples of how we can take advantage of those quirks. For starters, the most obvious thing is probably how Roman cancels sort of pause the game, and you can actually treat them like a mini pause button. So for example, in a lot of situations when you use a purple Roman cancel to save yourself, you might spot an opportunity to air throw the opponent or get your turn started somehow. Anti-airing, hitting your opponent out of the air, can be pretty difficult at times. So occasionally I'll just let my forward punch anti-air rock, and then purple Roman cancel if I see that the opponent happened to double jump or air dash in a way that made my attack miss. And probably about half of the time I do this, I'm still able to air throw or anti-air the opponent anyway. Another huge part of Roman cancels is how you can drift in almost any direction while performing them. In order to do this, quickly input a dash in the direction you want to go, and then immediately input a Roman cancel. In order for this to work, these inputs need to occur very close together. One thing that helps is making sure that the dash macro is mapped to a button so that you won't need to double tap to make a dash happen. I highly recommend having the dash macro mapped to a button for a variety of convenient reasons in this game. Drifting during a Roman cancel opens up a lot of possibilities. One of the more obvious uses is to make combos easier. For example, if you hit an opponent with a far attack, Roman canceling while drifting forward will help you reach the opponent easier. One thing I really like is using forward drift to side switch the opponent in situations when I know my air attacks are going to hit them. This is pretty common whenever someone guesses correctly and jumps out of a throw mix-up. The resulting situation from this combo usually breaks the wall and helps me get even more meter due to the positive bonus that you get when you break the wall. Drift RC is just really cool and has a lot of potential to let players be creative. For example, some characters have a few very slow moves that an experienced player might be able to react to with an invincible reversal. But someone who is creative with their Roman cancels could bait out these reversals with a purple RC, and even drift backwards to make that reversal whiff completely. There's another huge quirk of Roman cancels that we haven't touched on in this video yet. They actually slow down time. The opponent's character will move at roughly half speed for a short while during the slowdown, and this allows you to respond more confidently to a lot of situations, like recognizing a potential anti-air situation and then air throwing the opponent. This slowdown is actually a lot bigger of a deal than it might initially seem, and it opens up a huge world of possibilities. So let's get into some of those more specific details about this slowdown that will help you understand when and how to make use of it. First, it's important to understand that Roman cancels don't only slow down the opponent's attacks and movement, they also slow the opponent down when they are getting hit or blocking. This essentially means the opponent will be in hit stun or block stun, and they'll be unable to recover for longer than usual. This also means that new combos become possible, and new block strings can become airtight, without any gaps in them at all. Here's a good example of what I'm talking about. Normal dust attacks are universal overheads that will hit the opponent if they are blocking low, but these don't combo on hit, and they're not advantageous on block, meaning the opponent can take their turn after blocking one. But if you use a blue Roman cancel to slow the opponent down and then quickly use your dust attack, then you will be at a huge advantage on hit or block. On hit, you can probably combo, and on block, you will recover before the opponent and be able to take your turn before they can. You know, you'll be plus. Speaking of blue Roman cancel, it's also important to know that not every type of Roman cancel grants the same amount of slowdown. Purple Roman cancels slow the opponent down, but only for a very short time. Blue Roman cancels, however, slow the opponent down for a lot longer. It might not seem like a huge difference, but it really is. If you ever try to make something cool work with a slowdown and it just barely won't work by using a purple RC, try to see if a blue one is possible instead. Most of the really sick mix-ups and crazy conversions that I've seen people share online tend to use blue more often than purple. Another hugely important thing to recognize is that Roman cancel slowdown won't affect the opponent if you are too far away. This seems to be in place to prevent people from being able to slow each other down from full screen. So distance matters. There are a lot of situations where a combo or block string only really works because of Roman cancel slowdown, so you need to recognize when you are too far away for the slowdown to connect. In this example with Zato, this move only combos both hits if I'm close to the opponent, but it won't combo if I'm far away and can't make the slowdown take effect. So if you're ever confused as to why your Roman cancel trickery isn't working in a specific situation, double check that you're close enough for the slowdown to work. Another cool thing about Roman cancels is how usually your character will maintain whatever momentum they had from the Roman cancel. This means if your character has an attack that goes from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1 second flat, you can purple RC it, and you'll keep that momentum to help you rocket across the screen. This might be character specific, but it seems useful in some matchups to help close the gap and punish certain full screen risks. It also can be useful for some really interesting mix-ups. I believe what we've covered in this video should be enough for you to start using Roman cancels, and maybe even get creative and find some really cool solutions to some of the problems you might be facing in Guilty Gear Strive. But keep in mind that the basics from the first half of this video are what's most important to understand, and is what will apply most practically to your matches. So if all of the complicated stuff completely flew over your head in this video, that's okay, I promise. The simple stuff is what matters most. However, with that said, damn, Roman cancels let you do some cool stuff in this game. Crazy mix-ups, cool combos, insane baits. Have fun using them. I really do believe that Roman cancels will be a huge point of improvement for many top players over time. So I can't wait to see what they do with them as time goes on. I hope this video was able to be useful to you. If you want to continue learning Guilty Gear Strive and other fighting games with me, consider subscribing to the channel, ringing that bell icon, and letting me know what you want to learn next down below. There's plenty more on the way soon. Thanks for watching.